So what you're telling me, Percy, is that something you have never seen is slightly less blue than something else you have never seen.
Yes, my lord.
Welcome to episode 24 of the Blackadder podcast, where one of us is bluer than the other.
Just slightly.
In a Jim Bone sense.
Not in a Dabba-dee sense.
Nah. You okay?
I'm not too bad, Gerry. How are you this week?
Echoey?
Yeah, we're in a cave.
Hopefully it's just a temporary arrangement, so apologies if it does sound a bit odd.
We'll be back up above the surface soon.
One of us will.
Probably.
The Queen of Spain's beard.
It's an interesting development. This was, originally the second episode of the series?
Yes.
I wonder why they moved it back. I think it's better than the one that they put in at the second. Well, maybe that's why. Backload the schedule, but then...
I think it was the other way around. I think they wanted a stronger second episode, which I disagree that is.
I would concur with your opinion. I mean, it's not as good as last week's or last time's episode, but it's better than episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the character development makes more sense. If they would swap them around, the character development would be really uneven.
That's the thing. I don't think there's that much character. There's not an arc, is there, really?
No, but the progression of Blackadder from the sort of weaselly, whiny fellow he was in the first couple of episodes, he wasn't that in Archbishop so much, and he's not really that at all in this episode. So if you had flipped them around, he would go from weaselly, whiny to not so much back to being weaselly, whiny.
True. Anyway, we can discuss that type of thing as we progress through this podcast. Do you have a summary?
I do.
Please crack on.
In the Queen of Spain's beard, King Richard looks to secure an international alliance with the marriage of his son, Edmund, to Maria, the Spanish Infanta. Disgusted by his prospective bride's appearance and manner, can Edmund find a way to evade the impending nuptials? Or will he once again be forced to adhere to his father's wishes and put the kingdom before his personal preferences?
Infanta. Makes me think of the drink.
Yes. I was trying to think of a Sprite-related joke, but I couldn't get one.
We have a pre-credit sequence this week to open.
Yes, two secret lovers meet at last.
On the castle rampart.
Yes, the woman has received correspondence from the king's son and has fallen for him head over heels.
Yes, so much so that she offers him her architecturally accurate body.
Yes, indeed. She removes her cloak and is shocked when the man does likewise.
Yes, because it is not Harry, who she thought it was, but rather...
It's Edmund.
A snivelling little runt.
And she shoves him from the ramparts down to the baying dogs below.
We have the credits and then another opening scroll.
Yes.
What are we told in this?
We're told that in 1492, after the death of Randolph XII of Saxony and the collapse of the Treaty of Insects, Europe was in disarray. Kingdoms rose and fell, borders, even languages changed. Men were killed by their own side, and women raped by soldiers from up to 7 different nations every week.
Yeah, a hilarious rape joke in there.
Oh, that's brilliant. I didn't know if the joke was that the armies were moving a lot, or that the same soldiers were representing a different country because the borders were changing. But either way, it's not that funny.
No. In the castle. As the king plays war games, the messenger arrives, we've seen him before, to inform him that the Swiss have invaded France.
They have.
This pleases him a great deal.
Yes, he orders an immediate invasion of Switzerland.
He has to be reminded, however, that the Swiss are on his side. So what does he do?
He takes a cautious step of asking his own soldiers to dress as Germans.
Yeah, I think he tells Wessex to pillage Geneva.
He does.
Harry enters at this point and is keen to find out how his genitals can be used for diplomatic purposes.
Yeah, the king's quite keen to share the real secret of diplomacy.
You see, my boy, I have decided to ally to a nation most threatening to France. The answer, of course, is, you see, Spain. And the best way to cement an alliance, of course, is marriage. Therefore, I have decided that you shall marry the Spanish Infanta.
Congratulations, your
Thank you very much. Yes.
Actually, I don't think I can.
Why not?
Well, I am already engaged.
What? Who to, boy?
Princess Leia of Hungary, and the Grand Duchess Ursula of Brandenburg, and Queen Beowulfa of Iceland, and Countess Caroline of Luxembourg, Bertha of Flanders, Bertha of Brussels, Bernard of Saxe-Coburg, and Jezebel of Stoke. No, sorry, that should be Bertha of Saxe-Coburg. And Jeremy of Estonia.
Damn! But if I haven't got a son to marry her, then the whole plan falls apart.
Your Majesty,
Yes?
you do have another son, my lord.
What?
My God, of course, you're right.
The slimy one. What's his name?
Edmund, my lord.
Yes, Osmond.
I think that list of princesses included at least 2 fictional characters.
Yeah. The king is now satisfied that by marrying Blackadder off to the Infanta, an alliance can be created that will allow them to destroy both the French and the Swiss.
It's very important.
And we head up to Blackadder's bedroom where Baldric and Percy enter to find Blackadder tending to a dog love bite.
Yeah, well, we heard him thrown to the dogs at the top of the episode, and he's now suffering from that episode.
Did you see Baldric feed a small caged person?
Yes, I think this is a running thing. There's a prisoner kept in Blackadder's room, but he never gets talked about.
For his entertainment, just like a little pet?
Who knows?
Percy then admits that the marks on his neck do look like dog bites. And Blackadder is forced to admit that when he was pushed from the ramparts, as you mentioned there, he was ravaged by a wild beast.
Yes, he swears off women at this stage, and he tells Percy and Baldric to deliver a message to any woman who should show an interest in him.
Yeah. What did you think of Atkinson's physical comedy here? He was jumping around when he was describing this attack.
It's a bit odd, wasn't it?
It's irritating.
I mean, the whole thing, why would he deny being bitten by a dog? He could have been bitten by a dog in a perfectly innocent way. Anyway.
But as you said, Jesse's sworn off women until the messenger arrives with news that he is to be engaged to the Infanta.
Yes, and Percy says he will go at once to deliver Blackadder's message of hatred to women, that the Blackadder is a venomous reptile and women are his prey.
Yeah, but his views are changed by this proposal, and he then imagines what this beautiful princess must be like.
Meanwhile, Baldric and Percy mock him with the dog howls in the back.
Down in the court, Harry speaks Spanish to a number of the gathered guests and is accompanied by a very beautiful woman who Blackadder hopes is, in fact, the Infanta.
But it's not. It's one of Harry's fiancées.
Yeah, I think that's Countess Caroline of Luxembourg.
Okay.
So pretending not to be disappointed, Blackadder listens to Percy ramble on about how the Infanta's eyes are supposedly more beautiful than the famous stones of Galveston. And I think that was what we heard at the top of the podcast.
Yes, more blue than this other slightly blue thing.
Yeah, but no one's ever seen the stones.
Or the eyes.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, the Infanta herself enters and tries to approach Edmund.
She does. She doesn't enter alone. Who's with her?
Her translator.
Yep.
I think he's called Mr. Speak English.
Yes. I think he takes a punch in the mouth.
Yeah, well, Blackadder doesn't realise he's translating and thinks he is declaring his love directly and takes offence to this.
Yeah. But when the Infanta makes herself known, Blackadder's response is probably not what she had hoped for.
When he leaps in, I think, at Percy's arms. I felt his reaction was exaggerated.
Certainly not very chivalrous.
No, but I mean, if you were going to have the idea that this is a hideously ugly woman, you would have cast someone more hideously ugly, or made her up to look more hideously ugly.
Who would you have cast?
And that would be cruel to say.
Would it?
Yes.
Okay. In any case, she doesn't seem put off by this and continues to declare her love through the interpreter and kisses him before admitting that she wants to find out about the rest of his body.
Yeah, he tries to hide, but not having anywhere to go, simply puts his fingers in front of his face and peers out from behind them.
We're back in the war room, where the king receives 3 lots of news.
Yes. Firstly, he is informed that the Infanta has arrived.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, he's given greetings from the King of France, which proves his diplomacy is working.
And the third?
Lord Wessex is dead.
Yes, he doesn't like this, does he?
No, this is not pleasing news. He says, I like not this news. Bring me some other news.
I don't think I've got it written down for the trivia, but I believe that's a reference to a Shakespearean play.
Yeah, it's not a direct quote, but it is a reference. The messenger leaves the room and then returns with better news.
What's that?
Wessex is alive.
That's better. Happy with this, the king tells him to tell Osmond that he must marry the Infanta tomorrow. No hanging about there, eh?
No, none whatsoever. It's a political marriage. What's the purpose of waiting?
Yeah, there's no courting period required.
No.
We're in Blackadder's bedroom now.
Yeah, he's made a hasty retreat from the dance, or the function anyway, and is very upset.
Yes, he's in a panic and has barricaded himself in his room with Percy and Baldric before reluctantly agreeing to listen to Percy's plan for him on how we can get out of this marriage.
Despite the fact he anticipates it being nonsense.
What is Percy's plan?
Well, it might be familiar to anyone who's listened to Blackadder Goes Forth.
Okay.
He thinks that Edmund should try to convince the Infanta that he is quite mad, ostensibly by pretending to be a pig that thinks it's a cow. Edmund's not interested.
No, and I'm not sure if that would put the Infanta off from what we...
No, I don't think she's that fast. She wouldn't maybe pick up on it anyway.
Blackadder is as unimpressed as you would expect from this plan, and so Baldric pipes up with an idea of his own.
Why not make her think you prefer the company of men?
Well, I do, Baldric, I do.
No, my lord. I mean, the intimate company of men?
You don't mean like the Earl of Doncaster?
I mean, just like the Earl of Doncaster.
That great radish? That steaming great left footer? The Earl of Doncaster, Baldric, has been riding side saddle since he was 17.
Who would marry the Earl of Doncaster?
But no one would... Brilliant. No one would marry the Earl of Doncaster. Except perhaps the Duke of Beaufort. What are we going to do?
Well, first we've got to get you looking bright. We just need to drape something effeminate round your shoulders.
Either of the Beaufort twins should do.
This entire scene now becomes disturbingly homophobic.
Yeah, it's very much off its time.
It's not funny, unless you think it's hilarious that people might be gay.
No. Again, if I was trying to defend it, I suppose what they're saying is it would be ridiculous back then for two men to marry. That would be a nonsense.
Yeah, but no one's suggesting two men marry. They're suggesting that he pretend to be gay so that the woman that he's being forced to marry won't want to marry him. But whether they want to marry or not is not part of the equation. The king has insisted on this.
Yeah.
So she might really not want to marry him, but she still has to.
Yeah. Later, we see Blackadder dressed more extravagantly, apparently, and being told to practice his wooing on Percy, quite pathetically.
This is stupid. I think let's just skip on to the next scene because this entire one is ridiculous.
Oh, we need to mention it.
Fine, you mention it and then we'll
Okay, so what happens is I think there's a bit of a struggle and Blackadder ends up trying to strangle Percy doggy style, which impresses Baldric, who had been out of the room and back in and now finds him in that position and thinks that Blackadder's homosexual
mimicry,
yeah, is working quite well.
There's more of this rubbish in the next scene.
Okay, we're back down at the court area.
Yeah, Blackadder is dressed ostentatiously
Yeah.
so as to demonstrate his extreme gayness.
Full makeup. The king enters and hands an urn to Doncaster.
No, he mistakes Blackadder for the Earl of Doncaster because of the comments earlier, and then hands the urn to Chiswick to send to the Queen of Naples.
What does it contain?
The King of Naples.
Eh,
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's similar, we didn't mention it earlier, but he sent commiserations to the King of France on the death of his son, who he'd had killed.
Harry enters with the Duchess of Brandenburg.
Yeah, one of his other fiancées. It seems like he's trying to keep a number of irons in the fire at this event.
And Blackadder tries to sound more manly for her.
Well, I think he's maybe... he knows it's not the Infanta, doesn't he? But he still wants... He's attracted to this woman, so he wants to seem attractive back, but his entire effort involves using a deep voice.
Harry wants to discuss his dreadful fruit-based wedding speech.
Yeah, I mean, you get another cringe-worthy moment when Edmund panics... I'm trying to say the king. Edmund panics at the use of the word fruit.
Yeah.
And its homosexual connotations.
Anyway, Harry leaves, followed by his mother who passes by, and then the Infanta herself makes an appearance.
Yes, at first Edmund thinks his plan has paid off marvellously as tears come to her eyes.
No such luck.
No, it's tears of joy.
Yes, she thinks that he is dressed like a Spanish man for her pleasure.
She's very, very pleased indeed, and they embrace. And the Queen comments...
Well, when you say embrace, she ravishes him.
You could say that. The Queen, observing this, comments on the lovebirds, and Edmund refers to them being one lovebird and one love elephant. Again, pretty harsh.
Bit cruel, yeah.
And the Queen says it's like they're married already, which gives Edmund an idea.
It certainly does. We have a montage.
Yep.
Where we see his new plan being put into place. Blackadder is to marry someone else.
If he can quickly become married, he will no longer be able to proceed with the marriage to the Infanta. I'm not sure this is a well-conceived plan at all.
No, but in any case, we're now at a more working-class marriage ceremony, where in a rushed service, Blackadder attempts to marry the giggling Tally Applebottom.
Yeah, they've kidnapped a priest as well to conduct this service by knocking him out and dragging him there against his will. And another snag presents itself.
Yes, she in fact is already married.
And as the priest asks whether anyone has any objection, her husband arrives.
He does indeed, but it's not for helping out Blackadder, who he assumes is the Earl of Doncaster due to his colourful get-up.
Thankfully, I think that's the end of that joke.
Yeah.
I think. Let's move along.
To the Queen's room.
Yeah, on what looks like a window seat, the Infanta and the Queen are having a chat about English men.
Señora, hábleme de los hombres ingleses.
So tell me, Mrs. Queen, about Englishmen.
Oh. Well, they spend most of their time with animals, you know, and with other men. But, when they do come to the women, they only want one thing. ¿Qué?
And what is that?
Well, it's a kind of pudding made with bread and butter and raisins. Oh, and of course, the other thing. ¿Qué el otro? ¿Qué el otro?
And what is the other thing?
Oh, well, custard.
Crema?
Edmundo, ¿qué tales?
Now, Edmund, what's he like?
Well, I told you, this pudding. No, in la cama.
Now, what's he like in bed?
Bed. Yeah, well, in bed, he likes hot milk with just a little touch of cinnamon.
No. What is he like?
Well, it's like a little rabbit, really.
I think that's probably the best scene in the episode, and those three were the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Queen is consistently good throughout the series, probably the most consistently good, along with maybe Percy. It did seem quite an inappropriate thing to be asking a woman, though.
About her son.
How's she meant to know what he's like in bed? Did she just take
we
surveys from the women of the court?
Yeah. Don't know, I think incest might have been quite rife back then.
But not for her, remember he explained back at the start of the series.
Where are we next?
Back in Blackadder's chambers.
The stag do.
It is a stag do, but I think they're just in his room having the stag do.
Is that where it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought so. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. That was the impression I got. In any event, they're wearing antlers, like literal stags.
Yeah.
And looking a bit fed up while a dog cooks over a fire.
Mm-hmm. A depressed Blackadder is not cheered up by Baldric telling him that he can at least be happy for the fact that his wife is still definitely a virgin.
Yeah, Blackadder reflects that this has to be the case before realisation dawns.
Yeah, this gives him another idea. Officially, she has to be a virgin, and Baldric is aghast at where he sees this going.
And we have quick cut to the door outside the Infanta's chair. I'm not sure she's been consulted on this.
No, well, we can chat about that in a second, but Baldric is being prepared to enter the bedroom, and he is in fear for his life. He hugs Percy before heading into battle.
It was quite a touching moment, wasn't it? Percy was about to leave and he went back for a farewell embrace with his friend.
Yeah, well, you say that, but when Percy moves away, he has to stifle a laugh. So from the bedroom, in the dark, Baldric essentially commits rape.
Yes, while Dawn translates.
Yeah.
She thinks it's Edmund, yeah.
Yeah, that's rape.
Yeah, no, this is definitely immoral.
Mm-hmm.
No matter whether she enjoyed herself or not.
I think she did. Because we're down at the war room and we cut between Baldric doing his deed and Blackadder with the king breaking the grave news, or the supposed, the hopefully grave news.
I did like the king's first couple of guesses at what the grave news might be.
Remind me?
First of all, he asked whether the armies of the Rhine had been slaughtered to a man and their heads cut off and melted cheese poured down their nostrils in the traditional Swiss manner. It wasn't that. And
no.
Secondly, he asked whether the Russian royal family hadn't been mistaken for bison due to their excessive winter clothing and hunted down, chopped to pieces and eaten as little sweets by Mongolian bandits.
That was well written. No, what is the bad news?
The Infanta's not a virgin.
Blackadder thinks this will displease the king.
Yeah, but he already knew. Her uncle had told him, presumably because it was him that was responsible.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Only one of them has to be a virgin.
And that's fine. Poor Baldric. We're next at court for the wedding, and he's alive, but a bit the worse for wear.
Yeah, he looks badly beaten up and in some pain.
It's a nice makeup work.
Yeah, it was.
So the ceremony begins, and the Infanta is anxious to have it concluded as quickly as possible.
Yeah, she wants to entwine again with Blackadder. I think she's starting the process already.
She's heading that way. I know she's very impatient with the poor priest.
Yeah. So at this, Blackadder prays for an intervention. And when the clergyman asks if anyone knows a reason why they should not be married, he gets no reprieve.
No, sadly it's too late.
Yeah, well, almost too late. He says, I do.
Not loudly enough though, and the king, still playing war games up the back of the hall, asks him to repeat himself.
Which he does, and his soon-to-be wife, of course, agrees. But before the bishop can complete the act, the messenger bursts in with news.
Stop! Christ! I bring absolutely unbelievable news that must halt the wedding.
What? Have the Swiss and French made sudden peace with each other at a mountain pass rendezvous, then forged the clandestine alliance with Spain, thus leaving us without friends in Europe, unless by chance we make an immediate pact with Hungary?
Yes.
As I thought! Are there any Hungarian princesses in the castle?
Oh, yes, Father, I think I've got one. Yes, Princess Leia of Hungary.
What's she like?
Leia is young and beautiful. Her eyes are like opals and her hair a cascade of perfect chestnut.
Oh, well, that sounds all right, doesn't it?
¿Qué pasa aquí? ¿Qué pasa?
Excuse me, what is happening, please?
Call her into the court! And as for that great Spanish dumpling there, get her out of my sight at once, or I'll eat her!
At this, the Infanta is sent away, and Princess Leia, not that one, arrives and is 8 years old.
Yeah, but before she does arrive, you can see there are other age-appropriate
candidates.
Yes, and they're all very attractive. Blackadder looks around quite hungrily.
Enthusiastically, yes. Yeah. He is quite surprised to learn that he's marrying a child, though.
Yes. And she finds marrying him quite hilarious.
She does, and there's no reprieve this time. Still, it seems to be a marriage that's got off to a Good start as we join them on their wedding night in Blackadder's chambers.
Yes, it's a more appropriate affair with single beds and Blackadder reading his new wife a fairy tale before blowing out the candle at 6 p.m. Her bedtime, obviously.
Obviously. Although there's a post-credits scene where she, in the middle of the night, asks him for a glass of water and he huffily agrees to get up and get one for her.
Yeah, there we have it. Yeah.
It wasn't as good as the third one, but it was better than the first two.
Yeah. It was okay.
Yeah. I think Jim Broadbent was an absolute
he was
highlight of the series. It was brilliantly done. The accent was hilarious. The inflections, everything that he did, because that could have been done really boring, in boring fashion.
Yeah.
Where the only jokes were the ones that are written, but he added to what was written with his performance, and I thought that was very nicely done indeed.
Yeah, I mean, just on that, apparently Jim Broadbent had no idea what a Spanish accent sounded like, so delivered a cod Italian one, but I'm not sure how. I mean, he's not that young. It's not as if, I know it's the 80s, but
Spain existed.
People
yeah. Met Spaniards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it just means he didn't know how to deliver one.
Yeah, he maybe hadn't trained in Spanish accents. Miriam Margulies, I think, is a trained accent specialist, and maybe he wasn't, so he didn't have the skill he required.
But it's better. It's better
an
for
authentic Spanish accent wouldn't have been as funny.
No. The episode was first broadcast on the 6th of July 1983. Will we chat about some of the people who were in it?
Why not?
We've actually mentioned most of them already in other episodes. So we can quickly look at Jane Freeman, who played Tally Applebottom.
Okay.
She died in 2017, aged 81. Done a few different things, but best known for Last of the Summer Wine. She was in 274 of the 295 episodes. Only Peter Sallis has appeared in all of them. She was also in Hanny, Touch and Go and Crossroads, but yeah, Last of the Summer Wine is where you would have seen her.
Okay.
Harold Lou Lewis played Mr. Applebottom. He died in 2018. This is his first of 2 Blackadders. He has also been in Brazil, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, Brushstrokes, and Chelmsford 1, 2, 3. The Reverend was played by John Rapley. He died in 2016, aged 81. You might have seen him in Goodnight Sweetheart, The Elephant Man, Land of Hope and Gloria, Maid Marian and Her Merry Men, Simon and the Witch, Sweet 16, Zed Cars, and also Last of the Summer Wine. And finally, the Archbishop was played by Willoughby Goddard. He's also dead, passed away in 2008, aged 81. He has been in Porterhouse Blue, The Last Days of Pompeii, Young Sherlock Holmes, that's a good movie, The Avengers, The Man in Room 17, Oliver Twist, William Tell, and The Dancing Bear. Interestingly, he was the voice of the polar bear in the Fox's Glacier Mints adverts.
Not many folk will remember those.
No?
I don't think they were iconic, were they?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone will remember that.
Sure they will.
Yeah.
What trivia do you have for us, if anything?
A couple of little tidbits. Natasha King played Leia, was 8 at the time and didn't stay in acting. I don't think she did much more.
Nope.
But she apparently became a successful businesswoman, according to the book that I read. Her main recollection from doing this as a child is that everyone was very nice to her and that Rowan Atkinson gave her flowers, which she gained kudos for on the playground. I don't know how that would work. It's like, I got flowers from Rowan Atkinson. Who's that? You smell. Other thing, talking about Rowan Atkinson, apparently he was, during filming with his writer's cap on, particularly enthused with the Margulies Broadbent scenes and the work that they were doing. And Brian Blessed recalls being asked to come and have a look at this, see what you think, and rolling around with laughter till tears were in his eyes, and Atkinson very matter of fact saying, yes, I think that's funny, I think that works.
Yeah, they were very good, they were very funny, and it did work. Now, whilst Miriam Margolyes was ridiculed in this role, she loved working with the cast and crew, who she thought were adorable.
She seems a very good-natured person whenever I've seen her speaking as herself.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. National treasure, I think, along with Jim Broadbent.
Indeed. Apparently she admired Ron Atkinson greatly for overcoming his stutter.
Indeed.
In real life, King Richard II married Princess Isabella of France when she was 6 years old and became a widow at 10.
Oh well.
Yeah. And the title is a play on words attributed to Sir Francis Drake, who apparently said that he singed the beard of the King of Spain when he attacked the country.
What's next?
Witch Smeller Pursuivant.
A couple of weeks away.
Indeed.
Getting near the end now, a couple more to go.
Yeah.
It'll be sad to say goodbye. We'll see folk next time. Cheerio.
Do you have a favourite line?
Oh. Yes, I do. It is, I like not this news, bring me some other news. I think Brian Bless has been consistently very good. And Toby talked about the Queen earlier, but he also has been, and I think it's worth mentioning it now because he's not really in the rest of the series. He's been fantastic in that role. And it was, I think, his only sitcom role, really. As an actor, he's absolutely nailed it.
He did. I'm going with the Stone of Galveston.
Fair enough.
Okay, that's us. Till next time.
Okay, cheerio.
Bye-bye.